Good afternoon, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan. So let's talk about alone. Well, last week Tom got injured. I guess before I say something about Tom, see, now I got to thinking, and then I lost the dude that tapped out last week, the Force Medical. I forgot to add the Sam Elliott sound-alike to his narrative, so I omitted that. So adding it this week. I, to myself anyways, was referring to him as the Sam Elliott sound-alike. So this week we have 2 tap outs. First is Tom. So last week we get to see Tom hurt himself. And it was a bit out of the camera view with the fall that he took. Couldn't really see behind the tree. But he comes out a little gimpy. And, most of the time, laying in your tent for a couple of days doing nothing is usually not a good idea. And even with him not really doing much of anything but maybe drinking water would set him back a little bit. But I could see a lot of reason to take that gamble with him in his back and see if he couldn't heal up a little bit. And he's hobbling along out there, and then he's like, I got to be careful. And then what does he do? He consciously steps on that log, which to me was just him trying to find the most artistic way possible to tap out. Like, let me just hurt it one more time. Then everyone will see that I'm really hurt. So you kind of had me agreeing with you with the first injury. It wasn't like you sliced your hand open with an axe. Accidents do happen out there. I was willing to give it to him. But after the fall on the log, no, that was a premeditated fall and then tap out. And then we have Jessica. Well, geez, who would have thought that spending 2 weeks on a hut might be detrimental to your health as far as finding something to eat? I don't understand why these survival experts want to build such involved and time-consuming huts. Like I said, Carrie's is very basic. I'm not so sure about the wind, if that might flap that sides around a little bit, but spending, she said, a solid 2 weeks, which I think was a lot more than that. But doing all that work and not eating for 10 days, I don't quite understand. I mean, she was, I thought she was like the escape, evade type expert, which would tell me that shelters really aren't in her wheelhouse. Covering yourself with leaves underneath a log or something would be your shelter, but finding food or being able to know what to eat would be a much greater advantage for her, but that just wasn't true. So she goes 10 days without eating, and then she has to tap out. Now, it was kind of curious about how they came out and visited her about not making a phone call. So I'm not sure if you have to check in every day or you have to check in the day for the medical exam. I don't know, but it was just kind of like she knew they'd be coming, but I'm not gonna push that button. But I know if I don't make the call, they're gonna come. So she got her wish. So the hero edit this week goes to Jumanji. He seems to be thriving well, and except for the luck box contestants that shoot down a moose or a buffalo, the hero edit at the beginning of the season, it doesn't usually turn out to be the winner. The weather changes, and then their food source kind of dries up. And then they're in a world of hurt because they're only getting one food source, and then it's gone. So I'm just a little bit curious to see if that continues. Juan Paul, I still think Juan Paul, I'm going to root for Juan Paul because Juan Paul's there for the money. So he can do no wrong. Juan Paul gets a free pass for the rest of the show. So whatever he does wrong, I'm not going to care. I'm going to defend Juan Paul till the end. So he gets my vote. The crazy aunt, Carrie, I think once she runs out of her berry paste, she's gonna be finished as well. The only other thing is, Carrie, Jessica and Tom both kind of said the same thing. And with when they were getting medically tapped out, and they said something along the lines of, well, this wasn't how I saw it ending. And it's like, well, how did you see it ending? How did you see yourself going through this show, and how did it end? And I seriously doubt if I ever got the chance to ask Jessica, was you didn't see it ending this way, but how did you see the game unfold, and did you see yourself not eating for 10 days? Did you see yourself maybe after 3 days not eating, deciding that you needed to stop working on hodgepodge and you needed to go out and find something to eat? It's like none of the warning bells go off on these people. They just sort of decide that they're going to go there and they're going to find a place and they're going to build a shelter, and apparently the 30 or 40 pounds they packed on is going to get them through, and maybe they're going to eat maybe they're going to eat 4 or 5 days out of the 100, and they're going to be taken out on the stretcher as the winner. They just don't seem to be able to make changes. They get an idea of how it's going to be, and then they just sort of stick to that. I like struggle to find the answer to why these people go on this show and why they just fail to make the changes. And you can say it's the edit. They never showed you. All they showed us was Jessica basically in a hut for a couple of nights, throwing up. They didn't show us her out hunting all day. But I don't get the feeling that was the case. I get the feeling she had about a half a dozen snares out, and if nothing was in the snare, then she called it a day. I don't know. I continually question the people in this show that they don't really seem to be. I don't know. Maybe it's because when they go out on their weekend trips, they have everything they need. They don't really struggle. I don't know what it is, but Carrie said something the other day, or during that show, was when she was eating the muskrat. She goes, "Oh, it tastes like beaver." She's probably the only person on the show that's actually cooked and eaten beaver. But these other two jabronis, well, they'll shoot one. They've never eaten one before. They have no idea how to prepare it or how to cook it, but they eat it anyways. I think that's maybe that's the, after you haven't eaten for about 8 days, that's the food source you go for. Not right off the bat that gives you 10 days of food, and I spent a lot of time processing it. I just I don't know. The show leaves me confused about these people and how they're experts. I don't quite get it. They leave me dazed and confused. So, like I said, I guess I'm pulling for Pablo. Jumanji's getting the hero edits, and Carrie being the oldest contestant. I don't know how long how long they're going to be out there, but I just keep thinking as you have to work for water, then things are going to get tough for her. But we shall see. So with that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.